You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
Black and White Network supporters, make sure you go over and check out the Black and White Network merchandise store. 25% off USA First. 25% off USA First. Go now. I'm back. Rodrance for Black and White Sports. My God, we're back in the Deshaun Watson business. Are you kidding me right now? But not surprised. Not. Had a feeling the NFL was going to come out looking like a bunch of clowns after reducing that suspension on Deshaun Watson and all those lawsuits. I sat back and I was like, you know, Roger Goodell was pushing at one time for what he was calling an indefinite suspension. Why was that a thing? Why did Roger Goodell want that? Because the NFL was scared and anticipated possible new lawsuits. Well, Matrix did the video last night. Deshaun Watson's got another lawsuit against him, okay? Now, last night it had seemed, when you looked at the wording on the suspension, that anything that happened between 2019 and August 2021 or something like that, that anything in that time period might fall under his current suspension, okay? However, the NFL has come out and made a statement, and it looks like there's a possibility that, no, maybe that's not the case, and the NFL could determine to do something further involving Deshaun Watson and once again file it under the personal conduct policy. So that's come out. It's going to be Mike Florio. Florio's a lawyer. That's one reason I like to use him as a source on on a lot of these Watson videos. Plus, it made me think about something last night when Deshaun Watson was given the fully guaranteed contract by the Cleveland Browns, a contract none of the NFL owners around the league could even begin to believe. Steve Bisciotti pissed with the Ravens knowing that Lamar Jackson was coming up, and you're giving Watson a fully guaranteed contract. I mean, a lot of people in the league were like, you're giving this guy a fully guaranteed contract. And we found out the NFL owners have responded by not giving a fully guaranteed contract to Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, etc. They just said, we're not in the fully guaranteed contract business, especially at that kind of money. It was a desperation move by the Browns and their clown-ass owner, Jimmy Haslam. What made me think about something that had been said many months ago by Florio involving that contract. That contract was given to Watson under the assumption that there were, at the time, only 22 civil lawsuits against him, okay? So the possibility of extra lawsuits could, if the Cleveland Browns chose to pursue, and it would be public, and I don't know how much they want to do that, and look, it would cause the Browns to have to admit, we totally screwed up here. And I think maybe that's what's going to prevent this. But this new lawsuit may be the avenue if the Cleveland Browns want out of the Deshaun Watson business and want to separate themselves. This new lawsuit may very well be the out they're looking for. So let's get to this. I know that was a lot of setup, but that's where we are right now. NFL will monitor developments in latest Deshaun Watson lawsuit. Oh, God, what is that? On Thursday, yet another lawsuit was filed against Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson. According to the NFL, the lawsuit does not alter Watson's current status. However, that could change. Quote, Watson's status remains unchanged, NFL chief spokesman Brian McCarthy told PFT via email. We will monitor developments in the newly filed litigation, and any conduct that warrants further investigation or possible additional sanctions could be addressed within the personal conduct policy. Watson is serving an 11-game suspension based on the process that entailed the presentation of evidence as to 4 alleged victims to Judge Sue L. Robinson, the jointly hired hearing officer under the personal conduct policy. It's unclear whether the league is foreclosed from pursuing additional discipline based on the other claims filed thereafter. Watson is currently due back for Cleveland's Week 13 game, coincidentally against Houston. Beyond any new claims, his return could be delayed based on whether and to what extent he complies or fails to comply with the terms of current discipline. Wow. Okay. So this is the part about the contract right here. All right. And this is from an article back in July, I believe it was. And this was this is from Factory of Sadness. But I mean, that's valid. This is what Florio had said back then. As explained in early April, after we obtained a full copy of Watson's contract, the contract exempts from the standard default / guarantee void language a suspension imposed by the league, quote, solely in connection with matters disclosed to the club in writing pursuant to paragraph 42, and such suspension results in players' unavailability to the club solely for games during 2022 or 2023 NFL league years. In paragraph 42 of the contract, Watson, quote, represents and warrants as of the date hereof that player has not been charged or indicted for or convicted of or pled nolo conte to any felony or misdemeanor involving fraud or moral turpitude. Player has not engaged in conduct which would subject him to a charge, indictment, or conviction of any offense. And no circumstances exist that would prevent players continuing availability to the club for the duration of the contract. The written disclosure was not attached to the contract. A source with knowledge of the document told us in April that it is, quote, a fair assumption that it refers to 22 pending civil lawsuits. Okay, so that tells you they believe the contract is based on 22 civil lawsuits. Now, he's settled a bunch of them, but now, technically speaking, this is like the 25th one that's been filed. Okay? There were a couple of new ones right before the season started, and he settled up with all of them. By the way, one woman still has decided to not give in. And this is the other thing. We haven't talked about this. The new lawsuit is a civil lawsuit, okay? But we don't know if it was part of what the Harris County DA looked at. Okay? We don't know that. And it should be noted for all the Tony Busbys trying for a money grab, the new lawsuit is not a Tony Busby lawsuit. It is two different and new lawyers. Okay? So that's an interesting wrinkle, too, that somebody decided they didn't want to hitch themselves to Tony Busby. They went, got a different lawyer, found a different lawyer. Doesn't mean that there might not be some other motivation there. But what happens if this person in this lawsuit that Matrix was talking about last night decides to file a police report against Watson? Okay, what happens if the DA decides to bring it before a grand jury after an investigation by the police, who, by the way, thought they had enough to indict him last time? Okay, so there's a lot of things that can still come out of this. And again, this is a new lawsuit. How many more are we going to get? That was always the thing about the indefinite suspension that Roger Goodell bent the knee on. And now he looks like a total clown for having reduced this suspension back from a full year to 11 games. I said then, when they decided to sit down and negotiate with Deshaun Watson, the league was going to run the risk of looking like complete idiots if another lawsuit showed up. Guess what? Another lawsuit just showed up. Wow. The league looks terrible in this Deshaun Watson thing. I mean, just horrible. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.